And today what we're going to be talking about is 3 areas to consider as we go into the 2022 planning process, which it seems hard to believe, but I know we have a number of clients that are already kicking off their planning for 2022, and we want to make sure that we're out ahead of that. And there's really 3 areas that we're going to cover today. I'm going to walk through them in a minute, but obviously there's other areas related to strategy. And what we're going to recommend is that perhaps maybe one or maybe all 3 of these areas are areas that you'll consider as you move into your planning for 2022. I mean, certainly you're going to go through your standard process that's worked for you. We work with a number of you on your strategy process. So consider these as being almost deep dive topics. These are things to consider as you look at your 2022 strategy. They're areas that maybe, at least in one of them, it was born out of what I would call the pandemic. And then probably the other 2 are just really good practice areas that people are thinking a lot more about, some of which is being spurred on by technology, some of which is being spurred on by, I'll just call it, other thought leaders that are out there. And so what we want to do is just share these 3 areas with you. In the spirit of what we try to do at MPI, we're going to give you a nice tool or a checklist, some checklists that Jim and Bruce, Abby, and I have all built. And that'll be your takeaway. And we're going to use those as we work our way through it. But so, Ab, if you will, we'll go back to the presentation. We're going to spend about 20 minutes just relative to content. But then we're going to move very quickly out of content and using the tool, we're going to move very quickly right into a discussion with the group. And so, in advance of that discussion, what I'm going to do is just ask people to share maybe in these particular areas things that they're doing or have changed that they're working on for their business to change over the next year or 2. And so, just some things that you might be doing in these 3 areas that we're talking about, and because I think we can all learn from each other. I don't want you to relegate just learning from us. So that's where we're going to go. Bruce, anything before we kick off from your standpoint?
No, I'm all set. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, good. Okay, so the 3 areas. Ab, let's just move into area number 1. Okay, this is an area that everyone's talking about. And so one of the challenges we have for all of you to be thinking about is personalization is here to stay. And it's because we can access data, we have information related to our customers, and we have technologies that can identify patterns ultimately out there about our customers that's really enabling personalization. And what personalization is think about, the old concept was mass customization. Can we create things that are customized on a mass basis? And the answer is it's becoming easier with technologies in most businesses, and it's becoming a lot easier because we have access to the data to do that. And so, Ab, if you could just switch to the worksheet very quickly for me on personalization, I want to share with you some questions that you want to be thinking about as you go into your strategy process if personalizing your products and services are more important. And this is a checklist that we've built. And you'll be able to look at this and say, some of these things are applicable to our business and some are not. So when we talk about personalization, it's what are you doing? What can you do to personalize your offering? How can you start to treat a customer more like a person and less like a wallet? And so what do we mean? What are the things that if you were working with us, and what I would encourage you doing with your team is that if you think that personalization of your offering is more important now than ever, then you would consider things like, how do we improve findability of our product? If you're in the retail space, it's how do we improve our curbside pickup? If you're thinking about customer feedback, all of our businesses, how are we improving our customer feedback mechanisms? The old move in marketing was all about segmentation. Well, now it's about personalization. It's less about identifying segments and catering to segments. It's more about how can we create a personalized experience for people? Are we saving time for them? What kind of data would we like, and what would we be willing to give for that? To our customers? Is it that we offer discounts in return? Is it that we offer personalized experiences? These are the things that we want to be thinking about in personalization as we go into the strategy process 2022. Ab, can you go down a little bit? I'm just going to hit on a couple of these, and we're going to move right into topic number 2. The idea is, what can we do to really leverage our understanding of the client? Ultimately, can we use education? And if we're a middleman, are there opportunities for us to go, to avoid being shut out? And so those are some of the things that we need to be thinking about. So think about personalization as being the old days of, we just create mass products, they're big winners and services, and then everyone buys them. Now we got to be looking at our clients and saying, can we personalize our offering for our customers? So that's a big topic out there right now. So the challenge would be to think about your individual businesses and say, in 2022, is personalization one of those things that we've got to explore relative to our strategic plan? Okay, let's move on to number 2, Ab. So the second big thing that we see out there relative to what we would call strategy and thinking about strategy is about the customer experience. And the reason why this is important is that what they found, there's all kinds of studies being done that people want to buy experiences, not products and services. And so what we've got to be thinking about is, how can we really enhance the experience that our customers have and how they interact with us? And that starts with creating a mindset in our organization. It's all about creating memories for our clients, and that there's a real emphasis that the customer experience is about building relationships, not just doing transactions with your customers. And so even if you're, in a non-sexy business, the question is, how are you building and fostering relationships? How are you creating memories? And are you driving a mindset throughout your organization? So here's some questions that we have on our checklist if this is an area that's really important to you. Great book I know many of you have read is the Customer of the Future. We've used it in a number of our workshops. It's by Blake Morgan. And, one of the things that she talks about is that it's all about moving to a different level of customer experience. And just when you get there, you have to think about how you take the experience to the next level. So when you think about customer experience, you're thinking about, how do I make our customers feel special? Can we wrap a story around our product or service? Ultimately, how will we convert our product or service to an experience? Those are the kinds of things we need to be thinking about. And these would be questions we'd be asking as part of a strategy process if you were doing a deep dive on this. Can you add additional services to our products or products to our services? That's really sort of improving or basically adding to the customer experience. How can we be more innovative? Customers expect that we're connected, that we have up-to-date technology, and that they can access us in a frictionless way, meaning that it's not hard to work with us. So what do we need to do to really, enhance the experience? How will we create efficiencies for our employees? So it's our employees that make the experience a reality. And so the question is, are we giving them the tools? Are we creating efficiencies? Or as we look at 2022, we got to be thinking about that differently. Make it easier for our clients to really deliver that better customer experience. Ab, can you go down a little bit more? And then there's some other things, is that, bigger picture, how do we drive the concept of empathy throughout the organization? So I'm sure that our salespeople, I'm sure that our delivery personnel and anything we do, people that are out there, meeting our customers, face to face, I'm sure that they are putting themselves in the customer's shoes. But how do we put the whole organization along those lines? How do we create the culture that really fosters, the improvement of continuous improvement of the customer experience? How do we get everyone involved? Here's the thing that we were just talking with someone in our company. We were talking about, the challenge that we all have is that we've gotten very accustomed to the Amazon experience, or very accustomed to the Apple experience. And the reality is that's putting a lot of pressure on all of us, even some of us that have traditionally been in B2B type businesses, is that people think it's easy to access information. It's easy to access products and services. And so, if that's what the expectation is, they're going to ultimately expect it of us. So how do we really drive toward that? Do we have the right leaders? And are we, and how will we continue to build relationships, not just transactions? These are critical things that if we're really going to take the customer experience to the next level. And so if this is an area that's really important to you as you go into 2022, those would be some of the questions, and this might be a checklist you'd use. And we're going to make sure you have copies of all this stuff as well. Lastly, let's hit on the number 3. And this is something that I would argue was born from the pandemic, but it's about making it convenient and safe for our clients to do business with us. So convenience is all tied to frictionless. Convenience is tied to removing silos. The customer doesn't care how many departments you have. Your customer doesn't care about, who reports to who. That's not important to them. And so what can we do, or what should we do to make it more convenient to do business with us? And ultimately, empathy is understanding how important convenience is and ultimately safety is to our clients. So putting ourselves in their shoes is really critical. So Ab, let's go to our checklist here. We actually have 5 things to think about. These would be 5 questions that if this is an area, and I think it's probably an area for all of us in strategic planning 2022, we got to be thinking about is what can we do to drive more convenience for the customer and ultimately make it more safe to do business with us. So number 1, how will we improve the ease of interaction with our customer? So customers want to, number 1, they want it to be easy to interact with us. So are there different technologies we need to use? Are there different roles we need to create? Anything along those lines to make it more convenient? Are there tools that we need to access? Is there anything we need to do to make our products or services more convenient for our customers? So when we think about our traditional products and services, is there anything we really need to do to make it more convenient for them? Is there friction in our customer delivery process? What do we need to do to eliminate that? Again, customers don't care. They just want that frictionless, easy experience from us. And then the last 2 are more about safety. It's how do we make our environment more safe for our employees and customers to do business with each other? And then ultimately, how do we make our products and services safer to the extent they're not? So all questions to think about if this is an area for you in 2022. So a couple good tools. We hope that they'll be valuable for you. I think these are 3 really hot topics. I know that in MTI, we're looking at all 3 of them this year as part of our 2022 process. But let me do this. Bruce, anything you want to add before we open it up to the group? I think we're right on our 20 minutes, Ab, so I stayed right on it.
Very well
yell
done,
at me later.
Sean, yeah.
You did good.
I think, yes, excellent. I think, these checklists are wonderful reminders of helping us think differently about our strategy going forward with a customer perspective in mind. And on the nonprofit side, we're going to be developing a similar set of checklists for a nonprofit focus. Because these are mostly for-profit focused checklists. A lot of questions are still relevant, but we're going to be creating something that's aligned with nonprofits as well.